Welcome back, CSE 230, to part 2 of our EX17, which is really working with EX16 and making it mobile when the screen size gets smaller or it's on a mobile phone. So I'm just going to keep working with EX16. I actually have an EX17 finished here because I worked on it last spring. I never recorded videos and I'm doing that now, so I had to refresh my memory with everything that I did on it at the time. If you get away from it, it's a little harder to remember everything. I was even trying different things with JavaScripts and all that just to make it simpler. Sometimes you can't always make everything simple with JavaScript, and I'm going to try to do regular JavaScript. But anyway, let's just kind of get back to actually working on this. So I'm going to open up my file in a browser and go to EX16, and that's where I kind of left it off. And what we want to do is fix this stuff so it doesn't get like that, and we'll have these images kind of go away. So what we'll do first is just focus on this, and I even have a sample of one that I did for EX17, and what we want to do, just so you see, is actually resize it and get it to the point where it gets like that. So if you can see what's happening here, the Wells is getting a little bit smaller, I think, and the headline is getting smaller and it's being centered. So we can't actually change the layout, like put line breaks in it, but what we'll do is just make it smaller and make sure it's centered. So we're going to do that. So let's target that first. We'll deal with that, and then we'll worry about the nav bar, then we'll worry about the images. So I'll just leave this here, I'll minimize it, and I'll go back to here. So the first thing we want to do is take this out of being flex. So we want to take the header out of being flex. So once it gets to a certain point, and what is the certain point we want? Well, let's go to inspect and see. And when you do that, you could see the size here. So I'm thinking about when the menu starts to break. So I'm at 800 right now. I'm getting around 760, 750, somewhere around there. The menu's starting to break. It's getting hard to see. So I'm guessing right around here. And let's move here. That's around 7. I think I did it at 760. Maybe you could try 740 and see how that works. I'll try 740. See how that works. I guess right about here would be 750. Let's do 750. We'll kind of break the difference. So we'll make our breakpoint at 750. So that's the first thing we'll do. And you can see the things going on here. We'll get this stuff out of here. So first thing we have to do is I'll minimize this and just move that over here. And then we'll go into our CSS and we'll make a media query. And if you forget how to do a media query, just go to W3 Schools, and there's nothing wrong with doing this, media queries. If you forget, if you don't remember exactly what it's like from your head, just go there and look it up. Nothing wrong with doing that. And I always like doing the one that's max width rather than min width. So I'll just find one with max width. And remember, you want curly braces on the beginning and the end, or starting and ending on the query, and then every style inside will have brackets. So make sure we get them in there. So I'm going to start off here, media only screen and max width. So I'm just copying that just in case I don't remember exactly how it goes. And I'll put this at the end of everything. And I'll paste it, and I'll change this to 740 because I think that's what, or 750, I think that's what we were looking at. And I have an opening curly brace there, and I'll put one at the end. And I'll just move this down so I have lots of room to put stuff in here. So remember, you always have one at the end, and every style in here will have two. So what we want to deal with first is basically taking this thing out of being flex. So let's look at our styles. So I can close up this media query, and I'll go back to my styles. And where does that happen? Here's the header, flex direction row. So we want to change that to flex direction column. So I'm going to copy the whole style and go down. And remember, you could delete stuff from it. And I'll go down and I'll paste it right in here. I'll do it on the second line. And there it is. And you can tab everything over if you want, so you know it's inside there. Now, the only thing I need out of here, and you can get rid of stuff you don't need, that'll make it simpler. And I'm not sure about padding yet, so I'll leave that alone. I'll put column in here. And that should change the header to column, so nothing's flexed in there. And let's see what happens. Let's refresh and see what happens. Okay, now you see a couple problems here. Is the image is getting really big and kind of stretched out, and this stuff isn't centered. So we want to make our image a little bit smaller, and It looks like it is centered, but we'll check that out. And if not, we could center it. And we also want to center that heading. Okay, so two things we got to deal with. We got to make the image smaller, and we got to center this heading and make it smaller. So let's go and see what we have in our styles. We have the header image logo. So let's copy that and put it down in here, just because we're following the same order. And I'll tab this over so everything's kind of indented as we go. And the max height was 154, and we could probably change the width. Let me just check what the width of this was. Inspect. It was 351. Maybe we could go a little smaller on the width and just put a max width and see how that goes. Max width, and we'll put like 300 pics. So it was like 351, we'll make like 300. We'll see how that goes. See if that helps. So we'll do a max width. Make sure you don't have PX. And I'll even tab this in so it looks like the other. And let's refresh it, get rid of our inspect, and check it out. Move it in here. Now it's good. That's a good size. It's a little smaller. We need to center it. And how do we center it? Well, we can actually go in here and do that margin auto like we could do with whole containers. We can do margin, and then top and bottom we could just do 0, and then we could do auto on the right and left and see if that helps. Let's try that out. Let's refresh and move it over, and that appears to be centering it. So that's that part. That's the logo. So again, that wasn't that hard. We changed the flex direction of the header. We didn't mess with padding yet because we may want to adjust that so it's not so much. We don't want to use up as much visual space because there's a little bit more visual space there, so we may want to change that a little bit. And now we changed it so it's centered, and we changed the max width so it's a little bit smaller. Okay, now we're going to deal with the paragraph. Where's the paragraph? We'll go up here and look for H1 banner. Is that what that is? Inspect banner. H1 banner. If you don't know, right click on it, inspect it. That's it. That's the H1 banner. So we're going to change that. So we can highlight the whole thing. I like to copy everything first and then delete what I don't need. That way I'm not just kind of picking and choosing or messing something up. So I'll hit enter and I'll tab this over, and it looks like I might have missed my, oh no, there it is. There's my closing brace. I'll try to keep my opening closing braces right with them so I don't mess with the one at the end. So that looks okay. So we're not changing font family, we're not changing font weight, we're not changing font size. Oh, we might be. And right now font size is about 48 pix, which is about 3 times 16. Now if we use rems, we can actually go to rem, because remember rem is root. So if the root is 16, 2 times 16 is 32. Rem is different than M because it doesn't worry about the parent or what's enclosing within it. It's just the root. So it's kind of more of an absolute value to use. So rems are kind of nice. Instead of using M's, you probably almost could use them all the time unless they need to change based on something else. But right now we'll just change it to rem instead of messing with pixels right now. Text align, we're actually going to center it. So that's an easy one to change. We'll put that in there. And as margin left auto, remember that was the trick to make it push over to the right. So we don't need that. Get rid of that. Color we don't need because the color should stay the same. So we don't need to repeat properties. And the margin top, I don't know. I think it might be less. So let's just put 1M and just see how that goes. Or 1 rem. 1 rem. And what am I missing here? Just so you know, a semicolon. And let's go back here and refresh it and close this and try it out. And that looks pretty good. So on a phone, it should look like this. And if there's any issues, I don't know if it's completely centered on either side. I'll have to find out. It looks like it's a little off in terms of the margin. There might be a little more margin on one side, but I'll deal with that later. But I think our spacing is okay. It looks like we might need a little spacing below this. I don't know. It looks like we're missing some spacing below it, so there's a little white below there. And where would that be? That would probably be in the header, I'm thinking. So let's just check out the header. And padding top and bottom is 0. So maybe we could just put, 10 10 picks in there. Just see what that looks like. We probably don't need any on the top, but let's just see. And again, this is all just happening. So now we have a little bit in there. So that looks okay. We probably don't need it up there, but that looks nice and clean. So our header looks good. So I think we're okay with our header, other than finding where that extra little space is. I feel like there's an extra little bit of space there, but I don't want to use up time in the video searching for that. What we're going to do next is we're going to look at our banner and see what's going on there. And if I go back to my sample, let's just see what we have so far. So we kind of did that, and that looks okay. And one thing I want to point out too is with this banner is, as you get in there, if you have things like that year round, looks kind of weird like that. And then property maintenance, you know, as you're going through there, if you want to not have year round, you could use something called a non-breaking hyphen. And I don't even know this by heart, but I know it's a non-breaking hyphen because I have them in print. Non-breaking hyphen, it came right up in my search, non-breaking hyphen, and it's something like a 8209. Right here it is. Ampersand, number sign, 8209. And you could look that up with W3 Schools, but I know that's the one that they use. So it's a hyphen, it's not an N dash or anything like that. So I'm going to go back here. Now I could put it in the regular one, so I don't have to, remember it's in our HTML. It's not something you'd put as a style. You'd put it in here, and I'd actually replace the hyphen and put that in there, and there's a space in there. There shouldn't be a space, so it should show up like this in orange. And that'll keep year-round the hyphen together. And let's see if that helps. Now year-round staying together, and it's staying around there. So that looks okay. So that text looks okay. We could deal with that with our headline in our section area as well. But our banner looks okay. Now again, it doesn't actually center until it gets to mobile, because it's kind of like that. But that's okay. So it's not going to center until it gets to mobile, but that's okay right now. Now we got to deal with this, because what's going to happen when it gets to our breakpoint is we're going to have that disappear. We're going to have that whole block disappear, and then we're going to have a hamburger menu make it appear. So before we move on to part 3, is I'm going to go back to coursework and go down to the assignment. I put it under unit 14 right now because we kind of continued right through unit 13 working on this, or I assume most people needed to kind of continue right through, especially with Thanksgiving. So I put this under unit 14. And if you go in here, you'll see an image for Ping, and you can just kind of either download it, or if you click on it, it'll open here in a browser, and then you could do save as, or you could download it and put it wherever you want. If you want to put it on your desktop for the time being, it's called Ham Ping, and it doesn't look like anything, but I'll just put it on my desktop right now. And then from my desktop, there's my desktop, and then I don't need this anymore. I'm going to go back to my Repel, and I'm going to put it in my images folder. So I'm going to go find the folder. There's Ham Ping. Drag it right inside here. And remember, you can't drag zipped folders. So you could drag this inside a folder. I'll put it right in there. And there's Ham Ping. And there, it looks really big, but it's not. Okay, so we have Ham Ping to use. And what we're going to do is we're going to have Ham Ping. This is what's going to happen in part 3. So we'll do this in part 3. What we're going to do is we're going to have that block disappear at 750, and then this thing will appear, and then we'll put some JavaScript on it. But we might leave the JavaScript till the end to make these things disappear too. So I'm going to minimize this, and this is where we are so far, just the top, and we'll complete that in part 3. Actually, this is part 2, so we're going to do that in the next. We're going to deal with having this disappear, so we may have to go back and do some naming with some of this, so we can adjust these things and make these not be inline, but be as a block. So we're going to do that in part 3. So we'll see you in part 3 for working with the nav and getting the hamburger menu to show up.